We came and talked to you in 2016 about having this mechanism through the state. So far, several communities have taken advantage of it. It appears to be working very successfully to have it administered. They certainly have much more resources than we do to be able to do that. And finally, the city is able to issue building permits for new homes in phase 2 and 3 when construction has satisfied the conditions of approval. So there's now at least 2 tracks to where some of these things will kind of release those tracks and be able to satisfy all of those conditions. And so they could get started very quickly. So the recommended action for you tonight is that we request that you adopt resolution bill number 19-019, amending resolution number 4662 to revise the approved form of the funding construction and acquisition agreement for the McSweeney Farm Specific Plan, and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement with CSCDA and McSweeney Recovery Acquisition, which is essentially Raintree Investment. So I'd be happy to answer any questions, and as I mentioned, the Matt Villalobos of Raintree is here tonight too.
Is there anyone from the public that wishes to speak on this item? Hearing none, I'll ask council. Anybody want to have questions or comments? Okay.
So this is good news.
Yes.
That there's some more new home development happening in the city. How soon, I know that the bond issue is we're looking at 120 days, but how soon are we looking at starting the infrastructure improvements before that 180 or 120 days or after? So if this gets approved tonight, are we looking at, we're going to start seeing heavy equipment moving into that area?
Matt could probably come up to speak to some of that. We actually have been working very closely with some potential buyers of some of the tracks in phase 2. And so we've essentially structured it that Raintree is fronting some of those initial costs. Like, for example, there's some fair share fees that need to be paid, prior to certain milestones. And so if there's a gap and this isn't funded yet, they're going to fund that. But essentially, the tracks are recorded. We've worked out all the conditions and all the timing of the conditions. So a builder could come in today, submit their plans, and get started. And we think we'll be able to time all the construction. But I can have Matt address that.
And then I think your question was related to the infrastructure itself, such as State Street widening.
Right, all that infrastructure needs to start before developers start building homes. So
right.
What kind of a time frame are we looking at that this stuff's going to get started so homes can get started?
Yeah, so in the 120-day process, as we're working with the bond underwriters to sell the first $9 million, we would be putting together the bid packages and going through the public bid process. So the goal is right when the bonds get sold and the proceeds are available, that we'd be awarding bids for contracts jointly with the city.
So we're looking at 4 to 6 months.
Correct.
And we'll start seeing some.
And then during that process, the builders would be going through the SDR process and the DRC process to process their plans. So that hopefully during that 4 to 6 month period, we're doing the bid packages, they're selling the bonds, and the builders processing all their development plans.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have a question for Deanna. I'm assuming through this process, TUMP fees are being paid. TUMP?
Yes, they are.
How does that then come back to pay for additional infrastructure for the city of Hemet?
Okay, so let me make sure I understand your question. So all the homes within McSweeney will pay their TUMP prior to C of O. So it's not funded out of the CFD. But your question is, how are the TUMP improvement projects allocated back to the city?
Right. Is any of that allocated back for actual improvements that have to be made here because of the increased traffic?
Not directly, is my understanding. So at RCTC is where, at that executive level, is where they'll determine what are the projects for the zones, how much has been collected in each zone, and then what are those priority projects for the zones. But yes, we certainly need to push on that for any of the TUMP funding.
It just seems to be more reasonable that if the fees paid on this should go to absolutely to the penny local infrastructure needs because of the increased traffic for this development. And I realize I'm not that decision-making body.
Me neither.
Yeah, there we go. That's my only question. It's exciting to see that this is finally coming around and that we can get this successfully launched and see some progress out there. So, phase one is very good.
Any other comment? No? Okay. With that, we have a motion to adopt resolution bill numbers 19-019, amending resolution number 4662, and authorizing the city manager. You took that off too soon.
I will move to approve what the mayor just said.
Yeah, okay. I'm so sorry. Please vote. No?
Mayor Pro Tem Brown, did you mean
Yes. Yeah.
5-0?
Thank you. That passes 5-0. Now we go on to city council reports. Council member Krupa. Okay. RCTC is tomorrow, but today I received a letter from Supervisor Chuck Washington saying he has appointed me to a new commission on RCTC called Future Funding Resource Ad Hoc, which is really exciting because now we can have a even greater say in trying to find funding and prioritizing all of the next 15 to 25 year funding projects for RCTC. And RCTC is tomorrow. The Ramona Bowl Association, Saturday, is Winter Visitor Special Performance, and local people will not be admitted. This is winter visitors only. March 23rd, the Ramona Pageant will be in the Swallows Day Parade in San Juan Capistrano, and April 6th will be the Ramona Spring Festival downtown. The library, I have been asked to say that adult literacy is always looking for mentors for its program. So if you are interested in being a mentor in the adult literacy program, please go see Kathy. The League of California Cities, we had our Riverside Division meeting last night in Desert Hot Springs at a cannabis grow facility, which was an eye-opening experience for many of us. And the mayor pro tem, council member Percival, our city clerk, our deputy city manager, and I were all in attendance. And you'll have to talk to each one individually to get an update on that. It was an interesting evening, to say the least. SCAG, we had a meeting last week and had the second installment of the Connect SoCal, which is Where Will We Grow? And an additional presentation at the Transportation Committee from the city manager of Monrovia, a gentleman by the name of Oliver Chai. And he gave a presentation on how to move residents within your city limits in a very cost-efficient way. And he presented how they had for years the only public transportation within their city limits for their city residents was a very expensive dial-a-ride service. And through working with Lyft and I forgot the name of the Green Grow, it's the bicycle exchange program, that they were able to devise a program that is being used 5 times more than what the dial-a-ride program was used, and is costing them less money. And even while the ride share for bicycles is being phased out, because that particular company is going more with scooters, and the city of Monrovia says they don't think their residents can balance on the scooters. So they're just going with Lyft. There you go.
And Lyft has a really good program that they are bringing out basically for first mile, last mile. And extremely good. They're sending us the presentation so that I can share with you. We also had a report that the aviation in the SCAG, aviation ad hoc in the SCAG region is being brought back into action to look at different airports, and what they couldn't answer was whether or not their study was taking local airports as far as county airports into consideration, of which Hemet Ryan is one. It's also continuing with the RENA studies for housing, and the next meeting on that is the first Monday of every month in Riverside. That's it.
Councilmember Meyer? All right, first we have the RCHCA. They, actually our group is touring this coming week. We're going to the Lake Matthews Reserve, so if anybody has a chance, drive through there sometime because of all the wildflowers are out. We've had all the rain. This next week should be real nice, so.
But you can only drive by, can't you? You can't really
Yeah,
get
you
it.
can just
Yeah.
drive.
Some
It's a nice drive, but there's some pretty sights to see there. And our next finance meeting is Monday. Let's see, do I have that right? Yeah, Monday the 18th. Okay, for our investment committee. So if anybody wants to come, it's open to the public at City Hall. Thank you. Councilmember Percival?
Yes, so last Monday I was at RCA. First, I want to talk about the species of the month for February was Bell's Sage Sparrow. Yeah, it's a cute little thing, but it's a mid-sized sparrow. But so that was for February. For March's meeting, the big topic, there was no species of the month for March, but the big topic was the bike trails in and around Simpson Park and in the Marietta area. We had a presentation from the park ranger, and if you're an avid mountain biker, a lot of the trails are going to be closed. So they're looking at that because they want to save the habitat, and you can ride your bikes other places. So that was the whole discussion there, was to closing bike trails, some near Simpson Park, and then others in RCA-owned land in Marietta and some of the other areas in the region. There was some discussion about some of those bike trails on private property, and there's really nothing they can do about them because they're on private property. So that's all I have.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Brown?
Yeah, I'm alternate for several of these, Watermaster Board and RCTC, and since all of the primary representatives were able to attend, I have nothing to add to that. Did have quite an interesting experience yesterday touring the cannabis facility. My prior profession, I had opportunities to experience illegal grows, so this was a unique experience to see something that was in a structure that was specifically designed and built for that purpose. And so the tour was very, very enlightening, and so it gave me a little bit different insight into things that we're going to need to be considering downstream as we move forward on the action that we took through the election. I had a really fun opportunity to attend. Mayor was there, and Councilmember Krupa was also at the IIFC, which is the Idlewild International Festival of Cinema. They've been having their awards ceremonies held in Idlewild, but obviously because of some of the problems with the highway, access to Idlewild is for local traffic only, and that's difficult at best. So through some arrangements, and jump in if you can remember exactly how it all came together, but long story short, there was an opportunity to make those awards presentations occur at our historic Hemet Theater. And it was a really nice event, And we heard a lot of nice feedback from people that are in the arts, and I think it actually added a special element to the awards presentation because of the fact that they were conducting them in a historic theater. And so I think that that might be something that we'll be seeing in the future. So that was a really good event, and I was glad that I was able to attend. And that's all I have.
Great. Yeah, that was really a special event, and they were really appreciative that the city was there. And if you have a chance to attend something at the theater, now that the renovations have started and they've done a tremendous job in the lobby, I highly recommend that you stop in for one of their events, because they've put a lot of sweat and tears into that renovation, and it's only beginning, but they've done a great job so far. Let's see, I'm alternate there. League of California Cities, Linda already discussed that. Western Riverside Council of Governments, our admin and finance is tomorrow, along with our Western Community Energy Board. So be there for that. The meeting last Monday was with regards to, on just the executive board, just basically updates on PACE program and some of the other programs they administer. On the homeless task force, we'll be getting a presentation. Please note this, Sarah, on the next agenda scheduled for Wednesday the 27th with regards to the feasibility study and what we are going to be doing moving forward. Skate Plaza Task Force, the feasibility study has been completed. And Chris, when will they be presenting that, do you assume?
So we provided comments back week before last, and we will be getting actually the final, if you will, back from them. We expect in the next couple of weeks, so we can sit down then. Probably sitting down in the next 30 days to come back to council. So.
Perfect. Next item, Livestream's Gift of Life Tribute on April 7th. Livestream is presenting the City of Hemet with a Humanitarian of the Year award. This award will be presented at their 10-gallon donor celebration on Sunday, April 7th at the Riverside Convention Center. We have a table of 10 as an award recipient, and so Sarah will need RSVPs by Thursday as to those people that would like to attend. This is quite an honor, by the way. Over time, the city, our givers of the city have always been above most with regards to the amount of blood that's collected within, over time, actually it's about 12,000 gallons of blood. So we are very big givers in this community, and they're recognizing us for it. So if you could give Sarah your RSVP by Thursday, and I will tell you, I was planning on being there. I'm going to be out of town. So if somebody could accept the award on our behalf. It's April 7th. And I believe it's in the afternoon. Is it? Could you check that, Sarah?
24th is Sunday.
Yeah. No. It's April 7th. Sunday, April 20th. Sunday, April 7th.
It's also a Sunday.
Yeah. But like I said, as a recipient, we do have a table of 10 that they provide to us.
Can I make one more announcement?
You can. Okay. I believe I don't think it's an evening event.
Yeah, I think it's an afternoon event,
Yeah.
too. It usually is. The Hemet Valley Art Association Evening of Art will be held at the library on Saturday, March 23rd. I think it's 6 o'clock. That's always a great event to go to.
What was that again?
Evening of Art.
Oh, yes.
For the Hemet Valley Art Association.
Yes. Moving on to ad hoc committee reports, Florida Avenue 74. Actually, I understand there was a meeting last week, which
Councilmember Krupa and myself were not aware of. So we were briefed by the city manager. On the second one, CDBG Ad Hoc Committee, Percival and Brown.
We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning to
Okay.
follow up with some other additional information, and then we'll come back to council probably at the next meeting with that.
Budget Ad Hoc Committee, Linda and I attended the last one, I think we spoke about it the last time with regards to public safety. No additional reports on that. And city manager, would you like to provide a report, please?
There was a treasurer's report that was expected tonight to answer 4 items that came up last week. That will be presented on the 27th, just to let you know. I think because the letter was under my signature, I received an invitation to meet with the new Caltrans people for District 8. And they have agreed to study relinquishment of Florida to the council. The study may take a year, and notwithstanding that, they are moving forward on the median and are expected to start construction in May of this year. Should they relinquish the street to us, it will contain a median. The only other item I wanted to mention is under the future agenda items, next steps to Measure Z. I've contacted both firms that contract with us, HDL and HITA's firm, and both have agreed to provide proposals to us to assist us in establishing the ground rules for moving forward for Measure Z. I have received one and expect to receive the other by the end of the week. So those we'll bring that back to you with a recommendation as to who to hire.
Okay. Are there any other future agenda items by council?
Not necessarily a future agenda item, but April is a significant month for victim rights, and I'd like to ask if there's something that we can do to either participate or acknowledge or do a proclamation at our April meeting.
Okay. And do you know of any events happening within the city on that,
Not,
for that particular?
I'm not aware of anything specific right now.
His in Riverside, but I don't know of anything here, and I think we should look into that.
I do too. Yeah. Okay, moving on, we'll continue on to closed session and report out at the end. Our next, our meeting is adjourned now to Wednesday, March 27th. Remember, that's on a Wednesday, opposed to the Tuesday, and that'll be at 7 o'clock. Thank you so much for attending tonight.